In late 1960s California, a series of shocking murders occurred. Couples were attacked in their cars, resulting in tragic deaths. The killer, known as the Zodiac, gained notoriety by taunting authorities with phone calls. The Zodiac's identity has remained a mystery for decades, with numerous theories circulating. However, recent progress suggests a possible breakthrough in uncovering the true identity. This case has posed a significant challenge for detectives over the past 50 years. The Zodiac killer, unlike most serial killers, remains elusive and has become an iconic figure. With a mysterious identity, the Zodiac actively engaged with the media and law enforcement, taunting detectives and gaining widespread attention for around 4 years. His cryptic ciphers and infamous calls to the police captured the public's fascination. Despite his notoriety, the Zodiac's true identity remains unknown. His ability to evade capture led him to boast, "The police shall never catch me, because I have been too clever for them." One significant crime attributed to the Zodiac occurred on December 20, 1968, involving 2 young victims named David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. On their first date, David borrowed his mother's car, feeling a sense of maturity and respectability. With Betty by his side, they indulged in wild fantasies. After visiting a friend and having dinner, they parked near the picturesque Lake Herman, known as a popular dating spot. Sadly, less than an hour later, their lifeless bodies were discovered next to the car. The culprit forced the couple out of the vehicle and fatally shot David in the head. The killer's reign of terror began with his first murder, targeting a young couple near Lake Herman. The girl tried to escape, but the relentless attacker shot her 5 times, leaving no chance for survival. However, it was his second murder on July 4, 1969, that thrust him into infamy as the Zodiac. Mike and Darlene sought privacy in a car at Blue Rock Springs Park, despite the complications of Darlene being married. Suddenly, another car arrived, and the assailant opened fire on Mike and Darlene before leaving the scene. Astonishingly, Mike survived despite sustaining serious injuries. The police received an anonymous call confessing to the murders of David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen as well. The call was traced to a nearby payphone, close to Faraday's house and the police department. The local authorities in the small town of Vallejo were perplexed, unsure how to handle the escalating situation. The tranquility of small towns is often shattered by major crimes, making the acts of this deranged individual particularly shocking. The situation quickly escalated into widespread panic, fueled by the anonymous letters sent to multiple newspapers simultaneously. Vallejo Times-Herald, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Examiner. These letters demanded that the newspapers publish a cryptogram cipher on their front pages, claiming that solving it would reveal the identity of the killer. The authenticity of the letters, as the killer's own words, needed verification. The Zodiac killer's letters contained specific details known only to him and the police, establishing their credibility. They issued ultimatums, warning of more deaths if demands were not met. Although the cryptograms remained unsolved, a week later, the Zodiac revealed his alter ego and confirmed his involvement in the murders. The Gardner family eventually deciphered one of the ciphers, unveiling the killer's chilling words about his enjoyment of taking lives. On September 27, 1969, the Zodiac attacked Cecilia Ann Shepard and Brian Calvin Hartnell at Lake Berryessa. The Zodiac killer made a dramatic entrance, donning a black hood resembling an executioner's attire. He wore an apron with a crossed-out circle symbol. Claiming to have escaped from prison and intending to flee to Mexico, he demanded the couple's car. However, he proceeded to tie up Brian and Cecilia and began attacking them with a knife. Cecilia Shepard endured 24 stab wounds before slipping into a coma and eventually passing away. Prior to losing consciousness, she provided a description of the attacker's appearance. Brian Hartnell miraculously survived the attack despite sustaining 8 stab wounds. The Zodiac killer marked his signature symbol on the victim's car and made a phone call to report the crime. Fresh fingerprints were found on the phone, but they did not match any known records. In a later attack, the killer targeted a taxi driver named Paul Stein, shooting him in the head and taking his belongings. Nearby witnesses noticed the crime and reported the killer's actions to the police. Although the Zodiac encountered a police car, he was not apprehended. Instead, the officers inquired if he had seen the suspect they were looking for. The description provided by witnesses nearly matched the suspect, except for one detail. The criminal was described as a black man, possibly due to the mask he wore. The last confirmed murder linked to the Zodiac killer occurred on October 14th, when a letter was sent to the Chronicle, confessing to the taxi driver's murder and including a piece of cloth from the crime scene. In the letter, the Zodiac mocked the officers who encountered him, but failed to apprehend him. Disturbingly, the Zodiac mentioned a plan to attack a school bus, intending to shoot the vehicle's wheel and target the children as they fled. Although everyone was terrified, no such attack took place. The Zodiac later called the Oakland morning TV show, requesting the presence of lawyers Francis Lee Bailey and Melvin Belly. Only Belly appeared on the show, and the call ended with the Zodiac mentioning his long absence from killing children. The question remains, would I turn myself in if I could avoid the death penalty? The person who called the TV show claiming to be the Zodiac turned out to be a psychiatric patient, not the real killer. On November 8th, another letter arrived at the Chronicle, which was deciphered in 2020. The Zodiac expressed his lack of fear for the gas chamber, believing it would hasten his journey to paradise, where he claimed to have slaves. While the deciphered letter didn't provide significant new information, enthusiasts dedicated 15 years to cracking its code. On March 22, 1970, an intriguing event occurred. Kathleen Johns, along with her 10-month-old daughter, encountered the Zodiac on the road. He offered to help fix her loose wheel, but soon their drive took an unsettling turn. After driving for a while, the Zodiac refused to stop at gas stations, causing Kathleen to grow concerned. When she questioned him, he revealed his intention to kill her and throw the baby out of the window. In a courageous act, Kathleen leaped out of the car and hid in the forest with her child. The shocked Zodiac did not pursue her, but he vented his anger by setting her car on fire. In 1970, the Zodiac sent taunting messages to the San Francisco Chronicle, but then remained silent for 3 years. In 1974, a letter expressing his disappointment with the police was received, with a signature suggesting a high death toll. However, the actual number of victims is believed to be exaggerated. While other suspicious letters were easily identified as fakes, some samples closely resembled the Zodiac's handwriting. After this, both the Zodiac and the murderers stopped, leaving the investigation at a standstill. Arthur Lee Allen was the main suspect in the Zodiac case for many years. He had a history of harassment and lived near a murder scene. However, no evidence linking him to the Zodiac killings was found. Allen was briefly arrested for other murders, but the killing stopped after his detention. Despite suspicions, DNA tests did not match Allen's samples with those believed to be from the Zodiac. The case remains a mysterious unsolved puzzle with limited information shared by the police. In early October 2021, a group called Casebreakers claimed to have identified the elusive Zodiac killer as Gary Francis Post, who passed away in 2018 at the age of 80. The investigators pointed to the resemblance between Post and the witness descriptions of the Zodiac. They discovered a photo in Post's archive that showed similar forehead scars, which matched the Zodiac's appearance. The Casebreakers detectives also connected Post to a murder in Riverside on October 30, 1966, a crime previously associated with the Zodiac. In this case, an unidentified person fatally stabbed 18-year-old Sherry Jo Bates. A month later, on November 29th, the Riverside Press Enterprise received an anonymous letter from someone claiming responsibility for the murder and hinting at additional crimes. This new evidence strengthens the belief that Post may indeed be the Zodiac killer. Gary Francis Post, a resident just a short drive from Riverside College, was linked to the Zodiac case. Paint stains on a wristwatch and an army boot footprint found at the crime scenes matched Post's occupation as a house painter and his military background. The Casebreakers decoded Zodiac's cryptograms using Post's full name, and some individuals claimed he confessed to being the Zodiac. His former wife described his cruelty and influence over a young men's gang. The FBI considers the Zodiac case open with no new information. Local authorities doubt the conclusions of the Casebreakers detectives, citing circumstantial evidence. Tom Voigt, an author on the Zodiac, disputes their claims. Various suspects have emerged over time, including Arthur Allen, Charles Manson, and others. In 2008, Dennis Kaufman implicated his stepfather, but the lead was dismissed. Louis Joseph Myers confessed to a friend in 2001. The true identity of the Zodiac killer remains unknown even after 50 years. Various confessions and similarities have emerged, but most are based on unreliable evidence. It is possible that multiple individuals were involved or that the Zodiac's name was exploited by others. The case remains open and unsolved. Let us know your views in the comments section, and do like, share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more such content.